Many countries have set goals to ban the sales of gasoline and diesel-powered vehicles in the future. Notably, Norway by 2025, China by 2030, India by 2030, Germany by 2030, France by 2040, and Britain by 2040 or 2050. Electric cars have several benefits over conventional internal combustion engine automobiles, including a significant reduction of local air pollution, as they do not directly emit pollutants. Fueling with electricity offers some advantages not available in conventional internal combustion engine vehicles. Because electric motors react quickly, electric vehicles are very responsive and have very good torque. Electric vehicles are often more digitally connected than conventional vehicles, with many electric vehicles charging stations providing the option to control charging from a smartphone app. Just like a smartphone, you can plug in your electric vehicle when you get home and have it ready for you to use the next morning. Since the electric grid is available almost anywhere, there are a variety of options for charging at home, at work or on the road. By charging often, you may never need to go to a gas station again. Formula E is the world's first championship for electric cars. While the sport is relatively new, it's already having a big impact on the development of electric technology for drivers like you and me. All new petrol and diesel vehicles are due to be banned in the UK from 2040, and while that's good news for the environment, it means there's pressure on manufacturers to develop electric vehicles. Aged just 7, Sebastien Buemi was already on track to become a Formula E world champion. He has been a fan of the Scalextric set, and he raced the battery-powered cars on a winding track. 20 years later, and the Swiss were powering a full-size electric car for the Season 2 Formula E world title. Formula E is a class of motorsport that uses only electric-powered cars. This series was conceived in 2011, and the inaugural championship commenced in Beijing in September 2014. The series is currently in its 5th season. It is sanctioned by the FIA. Alejandro Agag is the founder and current chairman of Formula E Holdings. This championship is currently contested by 11 teams with 2 drivers each. The quickly growing sport features electric-powered race cars similar in style to the non-electric cars of Formula One. Racing takes place on temporary city center street circuits which are 1.9 to 3.4 kilometers long. How do you drive one of these though? Well, here we will tell you a few ways to do it. It's similar to a Formula One car, but it involves the main button that's called the main switch and then the ignition to switch on everything. Once you press a button for the first gear, you go. You won't need to warm up or anything like in Formula One when the engine needs to warm, you just go. It's a bit easier to start, but the software is much more involved, and if there are problems, it's harder to see. Tesla owners can even use an app to lock and unlock their cars. Many times, with Formula One cars, you hear a lot of noise. With Formula E though, you just hear the wind. You can hear gearbox and the motor, but it's a lot less than a normal engine. You get used to it quickly, but it does throw you off at first. That's because there's less noise, and more children and families coming to the races. Hybrid and electric vehicles do need to make noises, especially when traveling under 18 miles per hour to warn pedestrians and cyclists. The fastest of the Formula One cars can be 230 miles per hour, and they use complex wings and smooth tires to help suck the car towards the track and improve the speed. Formula E uses more uniform cars and less downforce and grooved tires than those on the road, so the speed is much lower. In the Formula One, you can produce the car from A to Z, but in Formula E, 75% of the car is common for everyone. It's focused more on efficiency than lap time, and you can use more downforce. The fastest electric car goes from 0 to 62 miles per hour in less than 2 seconds. It's a bit more difficult to control, but if you're familiar with hybrid cars, it's similar. With E, you have more power and downforce, and it's a bigger challenge to keep cars on the road. In F1, you have 1000 horsepower but it has a lot more downforce. If you've got a lot more downforce, the car is directly affected so they can't follow as much, but in Formula E, you can follow others a lot better, and it makes it much more exciting, and it's much harder to drive to have close racing. The US is the second biggest provider of these though. Electric cars are the future, and they're different to drive, but they can change the way people get from one location to another in an efficient way. But electric cars provide more than just individual benefits. These cars can help the United States have a greater diversity of fuel choices available for transportation. The U.S. used nearly 9 billion barrels of petroleum last year, 2/3 of which went towards transportation. Our reliance on petroleum makes us vulnerable to price spikes and supply disruptions. Electric cars help reduces this threat because almost all U.S. electricity is produced from domestic sources, including coal, nuclear, natural gas, and renewable sources. Electric cars can also reduce the emissions that contribute to climate change and smog, improving public health and reducing ecological damage. Charging your car on renewable energy such as solar or wind minimizes these emissions even more. What do you think? Please share your comments below and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.